Alright team, well welcome to the Building A Prado series. This isn't going to be anything too insane. I don't want to do too much to this Prado. It's a 2014 model, so I don't see the point really dumping in 20 grand of stuff into it and making it this massive tourer. There's just a few things I want to get done to it, and I thought a good way to go about it would be to share it with you guys. If any of you are interested, cool. If not, no dramas. Today is going to be more focused on the false floor. So originally when I was putting this false floor in, I had an idea of putting 2 drawers in and covering the whole boot. But since seeing a few other ideas and a few other concepts, I've actually changed my plan. So I'll actually be changing this false floor over the next few months and reshaping how I want the back to actually operate. But for now, this is going to do. Now this false floor is fantastic for mounting drawers in it, fridge slides, whatever you want, and it's perfect for the Prado 150 series. So follow along to get all the specs and the how-tos and all the in and outs, and yeah, let's get into it.
So the first step of this process is actually going to be to sound deaden your floor once you've removed the seats. The reason you're going to want to do this is because with that exposed metal, you'll hear all the air rushing underneath your car, and any rocks or any debris that you kick up and hit the underside of your chassis, you'll hear that really loud. So this step is really essential, even if you're not going crazy with drawers or you're going crazy with the false floor. This step just still is really, really important. Now you've got to press this in as firm as possible and try and get in through all the crevices and all the bumps and ridges along the floor. So use a roller, use something. I just used the handles for some scissors, and it did the trick pretty well. Now you may be tempted to run it over the little black box. However, that's part of your keyless start and your keyless locking. So do not touch that, whatever you do. Whatever you can do to get around it, chop it, slice it, whatever you need to do is fine. But whatever you do, don't touch the black box. So now you have to measure the space we're trying to fill up for the false floor. Now I've gone with a width of 1080 millimeters, and I found that's really, really good, as you can see. So you want to pick up this sheet from Bunnings. It's marine grade plywood, so it doesn't matter if it gets wet, and it's pretty happy with the 810 length as well. So measure out where you're happy to for the 1080 millimeter, and then we're going to cut that excess bit of timber off. So once you've made the cut, you should be left with a piece of plywood that is 1080 by 810 by 12 mil. Give it a fit and just make sure that you're happy with it and your cuts are straight. Now, if you need to give it a couple of extra mils, you will be carpeting this piece, and that will fill up another maybe 5 to 10 mil on each side. So just be careful of that as well. Now is probably a good time as well to drill out your mount points. There are some factory mounting points from where the seats were as well, but we're going to do this without drilling into the floor. So we're going to use these bolts here. However, these bolts aren't going to be long enough when we attach the support beam to the bottom of the panel. So you'll need about a 70 mil length bolt, and these holes here are where we're going to mount on the front using riv nuts. So because we're using factory mounts, we need to be really precise when lining things up, and I don't think I was at all. So I would actually recommend using some paint on the bottom of the bolts and putting your platform on and getting it that way rather than trying to line up and drill. Now for the support beams of the panel, I've just used 35 mil treated pine. It's cheap and it's strong enough for this. So make sure when you're placing it down, you're not mounting it over the top of where your holes are for the tie down points. And here they are, looking all nice and straight. Don't have to worry too much about this. Now once you're happy with everything, it's time to carpet it. It doesn't matter what carpet you use. I just used the cheapest one from Bunnings that was black. But you want to make sure you get an extra probably 20 mil each side to make sure you can wrap under it and make it look neat. So I grabbed a piece that was 1.3 meters by 1 meter. And I've just used liquid nail to layer it down on the top. So while the carpet is drying, Now it's time to riv nut our front mount points into the pre-existing holes in the Prado. The good thing about this way is we don't actually have to drill into the car at all, but riv nuts are semi-permanent, so make sure you get it right. These are just M6s, and I would recommend using the drill bit, because if you don't get it quite right, they're really, really rough on your hands to use the tool. So unless you've got amazing grip strength, I would recommend getting the drill bit for it. Now I rush this stage, but once you've let the glue dry, it's time to probably open up those mounting points through the carpet. Now just drill really, really carefully. You don't want to uncoil all your carpet. Now just time to neaten everything up along the edges as well. So make sure you make it look good and cut off the excess as well. Now just to mount it up, I've used M6 35mm bolts. Now you could go a little bit more crazy with this false floor and run it all the way up to the back of the chairs, but I've just left it. And you could also go nuts with the wing as well, but I've just used the plastic pieces. I didn't want to go too crazy on this one, but like I've said, I've changed my mind on how it all is going to be put together in the end, so this false floor will probably end up being changed as well. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out.